So, you want to build your first computer, but you don't know where to start. Well, you can start right here in part 1 of how to build a PC, the planning phase. My name is Johnnie O, and this How To Tuesday is going to be the first part of my Introduction to PC Building series. So this assumes that you want to build a PC, maybe you have a laptop or a pre-built desktop currently, and you want to get into some more PC gaming, or you already do PC gaming, but what you have isn't performing very well for you, and you've seen some custom rigs on forums or on other YouTube videos, and kind of want to build your own sweet gaming rig, or anything you want to do with it, right? You can do video production or CAD work, things like that. So this video is going to tackle the initial step of building that PC and starting to plan out and research what you're going to need. So step 1 is going to be gathering the requirements. The most important part of any project is gathering the requirements of the project. So figuring out what you need it to do. You can tackle the wants later if your budget fits that, but the first thing you want to do is lay out what does it absolutely need to do. Do you just want to do pure gaming? Do you want to do gaming and streaming to a service like Twitch or YouTube? Do you want to create your own YouTube videos based off of your gaming, or are you just interested in being able to do video production, period? Image editing, CAD work, whatever it is, figure out what it needs to do, how many of those categories you fit into. Also, you need to figure out, what kind of desk space do you have, right? How much room do you have to put this PC? Can you go with the biggest, baddest case in the world? Do you need to limit yourself? Maybe you're in a dorm room and you have very limited space to put something, and you want to go with a very small PC build, which is possible. So once you get that figured out, then we're going to move on to the next step. So for the purposes of today's video, I'm just going to assume that we're going to build a basic gaming PC, and we don't have any real strict size requirements, so we're going to stick with a standard mid-tower, which is kind of a medium-sized build. And so there's still a couple more things to consider here in the requirements section. So we decided we're going to go with a gaming PC, but we need to determine what resolution we're going to be gaming at. Today I'm going to assume 1080p just to keep things simple. And if you're going to be doing esports titles, if you're going to be doing just more AAA gaming, or what kind of games you want to play with this computer. We're going to assume kind of a mixed bag, right? We're going to do esports, AAA. We're going to go for a PC that can do just all-around 1080p gaming with no issues. The other thing to think about that a lot of people forget about whenever they're doing a PC build is the operating system. What are you going to use to run the computer with, right? Another thing is peripherals, right? So keyboard, mouse, headset, speakers, anything like that. We're going to assume you already have keyboard, mouse, 1080p monitor. Most people have those things already available to them. And then we're also going to assume that you need some sort of gaming headset or some way to be able to get audio out of the device. So we're going to go with a gaming headset with a mic just to kind of take care of audio output and input all in one step. So once you have the requirements figured out, you want to go ahead and figure out what your budget is. How much money do you have to spend on this PC build? And part of that may be looking at it and saying, okay, I've got this much money, but I want to do this much stuff with my build. Maybe you need to step back and save up for a couple more months until you have enough money to do what you want to do. That being said, you can still move on to the next phase, and you can realign your budget as you go. If you get to the actual researching and getting the parts together phase, you're probably going to find out that, well, maybe this won't perform quite as well as I want it to. I'm going to need to step up to the next tier part in line, and you're going to have to kind of reevaluate your budget and step back a little bit and go ahead and save up a little bit more, things like that. But just kind of figure out what your baseline budget is, how much you want to spend, or how much you can spend on this PC. So again, here I'm going to make an assumption of a $750 budget, and the only reason I'm going with $750 is just because I feel like a lot of people do that $1,000 budget area, so I'm going to go and back that off a little bit, go to $750. That's probably a little bit more reasonable of a build price than $1,000 for most people. Really, we could step that back to $500 or $600 and probably still do some pretty decent 1080p gaming, but just for sake of simplicity and including the operating system and a headset, I bumped that to about $750. And so the last step of this video is going to be picking the parts, actually figuring out what you're going to need to put together this PC and making them fit into your budget, and kind of how to prioritize what you want to spend money on. Kind of help you out with figuring that part of the process out. We're going to use PC Part Picker because whether you're new to PC building or you've been doing it for years and years and years, PC Part Picker is an excellent resource. They basically take and house a database of 95%, completely made up statistic there, but nearly any PC part that you could want to throw into a computer is going to be on their website. They keep a list of a bunch of e-tailers like Amazon, Newegg, Tiger Direct, things like that. Actually, I don't know if I've ever seen Tiger Direct show up on there, but anyways, they have a bunch of different e-tailers that sell PC products or PC computer components, and they keep track of the pricing and make sure that they filter it down so that you can see what the lowest pricing is. They'll show you what the mail-in rebates are available, what the promotions are. I believe sometimes they'll even show you if there's a bundle deal available for certain parts, like Newegg will have a lot of bundle items at times. So it's a really good resource for anybody to go through and start to put together a PC build, because not only do they have all this information, they also do a lot of recording of the actual specs of, say, the case as well as the CPU cooler. So they'll actually keep track of what's the maximum height CPU cooler this case supports, and then what's the height of the CPU cooler. And if you put those two items together and say the CPU cooler is taller than what will fit in that case, it'll throw a red flag up and say, hey, just to let you know, there's a potential compatibility issue here. It looks like from our data, that CPU cooler not going to fit in that case. You may want to pick a different one. So there are going to be situations where it'll just say that they're not sure because they don't necessarily have the data required to make that assessment. But again, most of the time they're pretty accurate with it, I think. And it's, again, just a really easy way for a beginner to be able to dive in, throw some parts together, and be pretty confident that once they all ship to your house, you're going to have all the right parts that are going to fit together the right way, and you're not going to run into any weird issues. So let's go ahead and without further ado jump in, and I'll show you PC Part Picker and kind of do my sample build here with a $750 budget, 1080p gaming, esports, and AAA titles mixed, and we're going to go ahead and Windows licensing and do a gaming headset and just kind of go from there.
Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and jump into PC Part Picker now and start looking at deciding what parts are going to go into our build. So before we do that, I just want to show you on the main page here, you'll see you have Start a System Build, which is where we're going to go in just a minute. You also have build guides that the staff at PC Part Picker have put together. Where they actually go and show you a PC you could build and how much it should cost you based on the parts that they've chosen. See all completed builds. So this is actually user submitted builds. So if you go on here, part out your stuff, order it, put it all together, make sure you take lots of pictures, sign up for an account, and go ahead and post your build so that you can share that with other people. And you also browse by individual parts if you'd like to. So you can see here they do build guides up here. They have a blog, which they have a YouTube channel where they'll actually do live builds and stuff like that. And then there's completed builds where they'll show you a featured build and just different things. You go up here and you can just do see all completed builds, or go up to the top and view the completed builds and actually get a look at what else going up here. So this is actually I clicked on build guys. See all completed builds, and you'll see there's a list of completed builds. You can sort them, you can filter them by price, you can sort them by price, different things like that. So let's go back to Start a System Build. So since we're going to do a purely gaming PC, I'm going to go and stick with Intel for our CPU, and then we'll see either RX 580 or probably GTX 1060, something like that, for the graphics card. We'll see what our budget will allot for and kind of how that lines up. So let's go ahead and go to choose a CPU, and so I'm going to go with Pentium because with the 7th generation core processors, the Pentium 4560, actually you see it's the number one part here, at $60, performs basically equivalent to the 6th gen i3 6100, which is a perfectly capable gaming CPU. So we're going to start out our baseline with that. I don't know that I would recommend 6100 or 7100. I don't know that I could recommend an i3 for a gaming PC at this point. The next step up from this would be an i5, and a lock SKU i5 you're looking more like $180, so you're talking $130 more for that next jump up. Now if you're going to be doing more games that are more CPU bound. Maybe GTA 5 would fall in this category. I don't know how much of a performance hit you would really take offhand in something like GTA 5. City Skylines I know is very CPU intensive, and with that even in i5 you'd probably be somewhat limited in that game. But for the most part, not probably 90 to 95% of the games out there, you'll be fine with something like this or even that locked i5 if you want to step up and spend a little bit more money. So we're going to choose a motherboard now. And so as you can see here, thanks to this enable compatibility filter, it's only going to show us motherboards that are compatible with our CPU. So we're going to go and sort by lowest price. And I think I mentioned this earlier in the video, I'm going to go ahead and do a full-size ATX motherboard because we're going to go with a mid-tower case, which will support a full-size ATX motherboard. And I believe the 4560 is a 7th gen processor, so you can use a 1 series chipset like the B150, H170, Z170. I wouldn't recommend going with Z170 unless you really think you're going to want to upgrade to a unlock SKU CPU in the future and spend $200 to $300 on that. On top of the additional cost of a Z170 board, I would recommend sticking with a B or an H chipset. And on that note as well, with the chipset you're choosing, the 4560 Pentium is a 7th gen processor, so if you go with a 1 series motherboard, depending on what BIOS level is preloaded on that motherboard, you may need to upgrade it before you can install that CPU, which would mean you would have to have a 6th gen processor installed to be able to upgrade that BIOS before you can install your new 7th gen processor. So since that's probably not going to be a likely scenario for you, what you want to do is go ahead and try and stick with a 2 series motherboard just to be certain that you won't have any compatibility issues. So we're going to look through here. I'm going to go ahead and go and jump up a little bit. I think with how much money we're saving on our CPU, we'll be able to make sure that we have a good... Let's go ahead and do this. Let's do show all here. I'm going to do B250, H270, and we're just going to ignore the Z chipsets altogether, I think. So I'm thinking maybe an H270 so we can get a little bit more feature-rich of a setup. And so sometimes you don't have great pictures here on the actual. I see it's got a promo on it. You don't actually get good pictures here. So what you can do is go to the merchant's website by clicking there, and then see it'll take you to Neweg's site here in this case, so you can get better pictures. And specifically, what I want to see is the I/O on this motherboard, which is pretty decent. We've got 8, so we've got 8 USB 3 ports, and then a 3.1 and a 3.1 Type C. Oh, I'm sorry, 4. Looks like 4 3.0s, a 3.1 and a 3.1 Type C, and then 2 2.0s, which is good. That'll work for us. I like having a good assortment of USB ports on a motherboard so that I'm not limited by how many USB ports are on there. You don't want to have to add a hub or something to it later on down the road. So let's go ahead and just add this one to the part list. Choose memory. So I think what we're going to do is just to be able to keep price down and still have something that's aesthetically pleasing. We'll probably stick with like a black and red theme because that tends to be the most common color scheme of PC parts, especially when they're geared towards gamers, because black and red have kind of just been the standard color that manufacturers think gamers want. We're going to go with 8 gigabytes of memory on this one, and I'm going to go with a single 8 gig stick so that in the future you can easily just add a second one to make it 16 gigs of dual channel. It's not going to harm us right now since we're just doing gaming, losing that dual channel speed boost in the memory. That won't really affect anything as far as gaming's concerned, so I'm not worried with that at all. I think, yeah, these Ripjaws are red sticks, 2666. I'm going to just go ahead, they're all the same price. Since these are all the same price, I'll go with 2800, but honestly RAM speed doesn't really matter much on Intel platforms like it does on Ryzen, so you don't have to worry about that too much. And what I really would like to do is fit in fit in an SSD. So you see I'm going to adjust capacity here, so the minimum we're looking at is 120 gigabyte SSD. I want to be able to fit a nice SSD in for the boot drive. I'm just going to stick with a 2.5-inch SATA just because at these lower end prices you're not going to get a good looking M.2 that'll look good through the window. What's this Kingston look like? Okay, so that one's got kind of a black and red. It's 120 gig. Let's see. These are all 120, 128, 120. There's a lot of results for 120 gigabytes. I want to see if maybe we can fit a 240 or a 250 into the budget. Here we go. So we've got a Zotac. Was it okay? Yeah, so it's all black with white lettering. A 240 gig Zotac for 70 bucks. That's a pretty good price. Then we'll add something else for mass storage. That terabyte Western Digital Blue is fine. 47.45. It's probably about the best price you're gonna find for a quality 1 terabyte mechanical drive. And let's go ahead and jump to the video card. So we're gonna restrict this to. Let's see. Oops, I didn't need to do that. Oh well. Now I've got to do a lot more scrolling than I need to because both the ones I wanted actually were in that quick pick there. So 1066 gig, and I want to look at the RX 580, and we'll sort by price. And let's see. So we've got a bunch of 4 gig 580s, and then here's an 8 gig 580 for 220. So that one looks like it'll match with the build pretty well. It's more black and orange really, but you shouldn't see the orange because we're probably not going to go with a cube style case here, especially since we're going with the ATX form factor. Okay, so let's go and go with this Gigabyte 580 for 220. Let's go and choose a case. Now, I'm kind of more or less just going down the list here. You could always start with the case since you know what form factor you want to go with, or if you know kind of a CPU you want to go with, start there. You can kind of start anywhere in the build, but usually like the motherboard or the case is a good starting place to kind of center the build around. More so the case if you don't know necessarily which CPU you want to go with right off the bat. Oh, excuse me. I may have to edit that out. So let's just take a look. I'm not going to sort by price here. Let's see. Actually, right here, that's 340 black and red for 60 bucks. I know that's a good case from NZXT. We'll just go ahead and throw that in there. And let's see how are we doing. We're at $612. But see, this is showing us with mail-in rebates. I don't want to see with mail-in rebates. So there is a setting. I don't remember if you have to be signed into an account to make it happen. But there's an option to exclude, maybe it's right here. No, there's an option to exclude promotions, so you don't, so it doesn't calculate in mail-in rebates in your final price. Because I don't like to count on those because they're not always reliable. Okay, here we go. So if you go to any of the part selections and uncheck include mail-in rebates, and then go back to your system build, it'll take off the mail-in rebates from your total part pricing. So we're at about $630 now. We still need a power supply, an OS, and the headset. So I'm going to go and add the OS now because I know we're going to go Windows 10. I'm going to go with Pro, and we're not going to pay $130. We're actually only going to pay about 30 bucks for this OS. So basically, luckily, I haven't had to actually pay for a Windows 10 license yet. I've been able to use upgrade licenses from older Windows 7 ones that I've had and stuff like that. But Paul's Hardware actually did a good video on using sites like Kingwin. He actually recommends Kingwin to get your Windows 10 product key, your activation key from, for about 30 bucks. And that's what he uses. He finds it very reliable, and I trust Paul's Hardware. I trust Paul and his judgment on that. So I'm going to use that for our pricing here. And let's go ahead and go back to the power supply, which should be the last component of the build that we really need. So I'm going to go ahead and here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at a couple of specific manufacturers that I know I trust. Fractal will probably be okay. Let's see. We'll go with NZXT. They're usually pretty quality. in most of their stuff. Silverstone should be a good brand. I've heard good things about like Sparkle and I believe Sunflower or Superflower. I believe those are both supposed to be pretty good ones. We'll throw Thermaltake in there too. I don't know that I would necessarily go with a Thermaltake power supply. But I'm not going to include those others that I don't really know at all. I've just kind of heard things about. Let's see, what's this 550 watt here? Look at that, first try, looks like we've got black cables. So that'll be good. 32 bucks for, yeah, right here. 30, yeah. $32. Okay, but see, that's showing with the promo. And so what we'll do is we'll do the Super Biz one since it's 33 bucks without the promo. And so I mean you're talking a difference of 10 cents, and we don't have to worry about trying to mess with the mail-in rebate. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add to the part list. It's actually a great opportunity for me to show you this. And oh, it looks like it actually already did the Super Biz one for us because we had already unchecked that. Include mail-in rebates. Okay. So, but if it didn't do that, or if you didn't have that happen, or if you wanted to use a specific merchant, you can go here and select it right there. You can also click this link here and set your preferred merchants and kind of exclude places that you're not comfortable with buying from. So if you wanted to, you could limit it down to say just NCIX, Newegg, and Amazon, for example. You can limit what you see to just those vendors. So we're at $691. So we've got about 60 bucks left in our budget. So let's do this. Let's go to choose headphones. I honestly don't know much about gaming headsets and their quality. I'm having to use my gaming headset now to record this because my shotgun mic is being really finicky with me. So hopefully the audio sounds okay. This headset's pretty nice. I ended up actually paying about 60 bucks for it on sale a couple of years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago now. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's just say max price of 50 bucks and let's just take 430. Okay, but we're doing the black and red theme, so I don't necessarily want to do that at 230. Here's a Logitech 230. Looks like a decent headset. 35 bucks on Amazon. Okay, let's see. And it's got 4 out of 5 star reviews on PC Part Picker. So these review ratings are actually on PC Part Picker, not from any other external sites. So they maybe they're a little bit more trustworthy than say Amazon or something like that, where you know that people are being sent free product there and just hammering out these little Amazon reviews. Where there was a study where they found that people who are given free product to do Amazon reviews are more likely to be slightly skewed on their review opinion. So we're at 726. We've got 25, $24, $23 and change really to play with. Let's see about getting a CPU cooler so we're not sticking with that stock CPU cooler from Intel. It looks like, let's see, 20. So right here, Hyper 212 LEDs. It is a red LED. Okay, so we'll add that, and I think that'll complete our part list. So let's go ahead and go take a look at our system build. So we've got the Pentium 4560 CPU, the Cooler Master Hyper 212 LED, this Gigabyte H270 board, 8 gigs of DDR4 memory, a 240 gig SSD, a terabyte Western Digital terabyte hard drive, Gigabyte 580, 8 gigabyte. So if you were to do like Skyrim at 1080p or something like that with like ridiculous texture packs, no need to worry about your VRAM there. Let's see, S340 black and red ATX mid-tower case, EVGA 550 watt ATX power supply, our Windows 10 license, and our Logitech G230 headset. So we've got everything that we need, and we are $2 under our budget right there. So guys, we have done it. We have built ourselves a monster 1080p gaming PC for under $750. That's going to take care of all of our needs. It's going to give us solid performance. We're going to get great boot times with that SSD. We're going to have plenty of storage for our games with that terabyte hard drive. The 580 is going to be great for that 1080p performance. The Pentium is going to do great for us in 95% of the games that are out there today. Not a lot's really using multiple threads in gaming that heavily, so we should see good performance out of that. Plenty of memory for gaming. We can easily expand up to 16 gigs. We can easily upgrade the processor, even if we don't want to go, we won't be able to do anything unlocked and do overclocking, but we could easily upgrade later on down the road if we find a good deal on a locked i5 or i7. We can upgrade to that if we feel a need to. I feel pretty good about this build. I think we've done a good job here today. Yeah, so that's gonna do it, I think, for today's video, guys. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments down below. If you want any help putting together a build, if you want any advice on certain parts, this or that, this part or that part over the other kind of thing. Or if you just want to send me your PC part picker build, and I'll look it over and maybe give you any critiques that I have on it. But yeah, so for $750, we got a solid gaming PC with a nice, consistent theme throughout the build that'll look nice sitting on your desktop. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I think we came up with a great build here. It's aesthetically pleasing and is going to get the job done for us at 1080p gaming, no problems. I'll put the permalink for the PC part picker build here in the description below so you guys can check it out. You can duplicate this for yourself if you want to. You can modify it however you feel necessary. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and pop out of here, but leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this build. If you have any questions or if you want me to check out PC part picker list that you've put together yourself, drop me a comment down below. I'll take a look at it and get back to you as quick as I can. And guys, hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day. Go ahead and hit that sub button if you want to get subbed to the channel, see more videos like this, or check out some of my other content while you're here. Other videos that I've done on different PC hardware and gaming stuff. I am on Twitter at TitoTechTube. You can check me out there, follow me on Twitter, and you can check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/TitoTechTube. That'll be in the description down below as well. I am on there for anything from a $1 all the way up to however much you want to contribute to me. If you don't want to contribute anything at all, you don't have to, not necessary at all, but I would totally appreciate it, and it will definitely help me produce higher quality content on a more consistent basis if I get a little bit of support on Patreon over there. So guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like button if you liked it, hit the dislike if you didn't like it, and until next time, I'm Johnnie O, signing off.